smart talking me. I won't do it again. I'm sorry. You was just smart talking me. Who? I was here and literally only 2 people joined.
I need to know the into it. It is the closest thing to a what if that's been posted on this channel. That. By the way, if you're still here while the music is cute. By the time the NBA James makes his 19th All-Star game, and with that, he officially ties Green bar for the all-time record. It's his 3rd straight season of averaging more than 30 points per game. Now, taking a look at the first team All-NBA here, we have Luka, Curry, Giannis, Anthony Davis. With that said, I would say the most important thing is because finally, LaMelo Ball himself is named the 3rd team All-NBA.
Because we're friends, and that's what friends do.
Also, Anthony Edwards makes the 3rd team All-NBA as well after averaging.
Because Noah.
Which means a 2020 draft class is certainly living up to the hype so far. It is.
I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize. I apologize.
They now finish with a 64-18 record. This is a scary young one that features Kate Cunningham, Brandon Ingram, Jerry Jackson Jr., James Wiseman, Lonnie Walker, Kevin Porter Jr., and Dennis Schroeder. And I've got to say, I did not expect
the thing to beware. Danger always comes when least expected.
Meanwhile, the other dominant team in the Eastern Conference is the Philadelphia 76ers, who finished with 56 wins as best. Also of note are the Kyrie Irving led Charlotte Hornets. Now, with that said, looking at the Western Conference, MVP Luka Doncic has led the Dallas Mavericks to the top seed, but nothing else is really crazy here. So now let's head to the 2024 NBA playoffs. And in the playoffs, the first major storyline we have is a first-round matchup between the Heat and the 76ers. And despite being the 7th seed here, Miami does take down Philadelphia in the first round, an outcome that is very surprising as previous video, the 76ers have become a mini dynasty. Even more shocking, however, is that Markelle Fultz is the player to lead Miami over Philadelphia as he finished 30 points and 5 assists in a shocking
I hurt inside. I feel like I'm gonna die soon. I'm gonna die just soon.
Fultz is averaging well over 20 points per game, but even more shockingly, he has shot over 59% from the field in the past 3 seasons. So congratulations to Markelle Fultz, but now let's continue on to a Game 7 matchup between Kyrie and his former team, the Boston Celtics. And as you can see here, Kyrie Irving does knock down a crucial 3-pointer to put his team up 9 with just over 2 minutes to go, which wraps up this game and this series. This means we are now looking at Game 6 of a Western Conference semifinal.
I am.
Between the Dallas Mavericks and the New Orleans Pelicans.
It is lagging.
Of course, they do tie the series at 3. It is the Pelicans who shocked the #1 seeded Mavericks in Game 7. This means that Zion, Lonzo, and Michael Porter Jr. have now led the New Orleans Pelicans to the Western.
No, you're not really being funny anymore. You're just bullying me at this point.
Shocking and exciting, they ultimately fall to the Los Angeles Clippers.
You're just bullying me at this point.
This means the Clippers are in the NBA Finals, and in the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons will take care of business against the Charlotte Hornets, which sets up a Pistons-Clippers.
I thought we were friends.
And immediately, let's jump into Game 2, where Montrezl Harrell hits a big 3-pointer to put the Clippers up 109 to 106, but James Wiseman does cut the lead to 1 soon after. Then, with the Pistons down 3 again, it is Kate Cunningham who drives to the basket and cuts the lead to 1 again, which sets up this. The Pistons have a chance to win this game down by just 1 point, but a James Wiseman 3-pointer is off the mark, and the Clippers tie this series 1-2. However, this series is far from over, as we're going to now jump into Big Hoop's Game 3, where Kawhi Leonard hits a free throw to put the Clippers up by 1. Almost immediately, though, Kate Cunningham hits a mid-range jumper to give the Pistons back. But then Devontae Graham on the other end hits a running corner to give Los Angeles the lead. Overall, though, the biggest name of this shot ends up coming from Lonnie Walker, as he hits this huge 3-pointer to give Detroit the lead. And from there, Detroit would go on to close out Game 3 and win Games 4 and 5, meaning that the Detroit Pistons...
Look what Dutch said. Look what Dutch did.
I have to say that it is very clear
Do you see what Dutch did?
Let's now though move into the 2024 offseason where we have two major event statements. The first is that by a 28-2 vote, NBA owners vote to decrease the shot clock to just 28 seconds. This is incredibly major. It is going to change almost everything about the NBA, and I'm sure you guys already know we're.
You see what the Nightbot? Do you see what Streamlabs says?
That's something I'm sure NBA fans across the world are going to love. And the second big thing that happens this offseason is the arrival of LeBron James. Because in the 2024 NBA draft lottery, the Chicago Bulls do luck out and grab the #1 pick, and they select LeBron James Jr., giving the Bulls a scary duo of Bronny and Amani Bates. At pick number 2, the Brooklyn Nets select Canadian phenom Elijah Fisher. Cleveland trades Andre Drummond in the 2026 first-round pick to Toronto for the 3rd pick. The Cavs select DJ Wagner. This is interesting because 22 years earlier, the Cavaliers actually selected Wagner's father, DeJuan Wagner, number 6 overall, so this is certainly a nice father-son. And finally, Mikey Williams is selected number 5 by the San Antonio Spurs. With the draft now over, we are now in free agency, of course, but San Antonio Spurs. Mikey, 6 overall, so this is certainly a nice father-son. And finally, Mikey Williams is selected number 5 by the San Antonio Spurs. With the draft now over, we are now in free agency, of course, but importantly,
What?
LeBron James does decide to return for one more final season to play in the NBA at the same time as his son. This is pretty surprising, but what is shocking is that Nikola Jokic
What about
leads
that?
the Denver Nuggets for the Minnesota Timberwolves to team up with Anthony Towns, making the combo of Jokic and Cat, of course, one of the most dangerous front courts in the entire league. Wrapping up this offseason,
I'm so hot, bro.
had a budding young point guard star in Markelle Fultz, but as it turns out, Fultz leaves Miami for the LA Clippers, and we are now in the 2025 NBA season. And in this season, on January 12, 2025, LeBron James and Bronny become the first father-son duo to ever play in the NBA against each other. And in this game, the Lakers would win with LeBron scoring 21 points and holding his son Bronny to just 9. That is not to say Bronny is not going to have a very promising start to his career, but at least for one night, LeBron taught his son a lesson. Jumping to the end of the 2025 season, with the decreased shot clock, Luka Doncic puts up some insane.
I don't know. Say it.
38-point triple-double while winning yet another MVP, seriously putting him in the discussion as a potential greatest of all time. And as for the Rookie of the Year, Mikey Williams does come through for San Antonio and already becomes the face of the franchise. As for the first-team All-NBA, we have Luka, Steph Curry, Giannis, Lonnie Bates, and Joel Embiid. The most notable name there, of course,
Find out. Shit, the fuck?
averages over 24 points per game and makes the All-NBA first team. As for the standings here, the Pistons are the favorite to repeat once again after winning 60 games, but Giannis and Trae Young on the Atlanta Hawks do finally start to live up to their potential as they finish second. Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks lead the Western Conference in wins for a second straight season, while New Orleans once again impresses with 54 wins. Portland finishes 5th in the West with LaMelo Ball now starting over Damian Lillard, but unfortunately for LeBron fans, the Lakers finish 14th, meaning that LeBron's potential last season in the league
Did you see?
fails to make the postseason. Looking at the playoffs though, the Celtics advance over the Heat after a huge Game 7 victory, but more interestingly in the Western Conference, we have legacies on the line as Luka Doncic and Dallas square off against the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry, and it is the Dallas Mavericks who take a 3-2 series lead after a Game 5 in which Luka would put up 57 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. That is one of the best playoff performances the NBA has ever seen, but then somehow after Golden State wins Game 6, Luka would manage to one-up himself, because in a Game 7 victory, Luka would have a 58-point, 10-rebound, 10-assist triple-double. Now, as I mentioned before, these types of individual games are due to the shot clock decreasing to 20 seconds, a move by the NBA that some experts disagreed with, but the fans have grown to love. Continuing on with this playoffs, New Orleans and their exciting young core also advanced to the Western Conference Finals, and although there is consistent improvement from Zion,
They called Luther a gentle giant. Realistic.
and Dallas would take care of New Orleans in a series which included a 55.18 assist performance from Greg McGee. On the other side of the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons would
Doo-doo.
Okay, Daddy.
the exciting finals matchup between the Detroit jump ahead to game. And in this game, the Pistons are leading by 2 points. However, Jalen Brunson does connect on an and one that makes things interesting for a because the Pistons would eventually pull away this game. Then, after the Pistons again take over this in game 5, we jump to a very crucial game 6. And with the score tied 146 to 146, Duncan Robinson hits the biggest shot of his life to put the Mavericks up 3. However, with Dallas leading by 1, Cade Cunningham is now on the fast break, and in what looks like a clean steal by Luka, actually called a foul. It is his 6th foul of the game. Look at this replay, we can see that this is one of, if not the worst foul calls in NBA history. And because of this foul, Detroit would take a 1-point lead after Cunningham. From there, with Luka on the court, the Detroit Pistons cruise and win their 2nd straight NBA championship. An absolutely shocking feat again for a franchise that had been struggling for years. As at this point, we have to mention Cade Cunningham is now a star in this league. He is a 6'8", 95 overall point guard and is just 23 years old. This, of course, means we can probably expect some more big things from the Detroit Pistons coming in the near future. In the 2025 offseason, though, we do have some huge retirements, such as LeBron James, Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, Lou Williams, and Derrick Rose. And I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what happened to Derrick Rose at the end of his career, but unfortunately, he didn't really do anything spectacular. Meanwhile, LeBron James, though, does get his jersey retired by the Cavaliers. And the Lakers, and he also retires as the all-time NBA points leader with over 44,000 points. That is an insane number, and I guess we'll see if anyone can get close to that by the time 2050 rolls around with this new shot clock. And speaking of new rules, it is time to talk expansion as the talent of the NBA rapidly progressing. Adam Silver announces a plan to add 2 new teams into the NBA starting the 2026 season. Those teams are the Seattle Supersonics and the Nashville Stars. As for the expansion draft, Seattle picks up players such as Shake Milton, while Nashville gets players such as Dario Saric. Meanwhile, the Lakers, a team that started this simulation as one of the top teams in the NBA, now have the number 1 pick in the 2025 draft. This should have led to an incredibly interesting pick. However, they trade the number 1 pick as well as their 2027 first-round pick to the Toronto Raptors for Pascal Siakam and Andre Drummond. With this number 1 selection, the Raptors select 6'3" point guard Javon Miles. Overall, the Bulls select Jerry West in the 2nd of the 2, and then with pick number 3, the Suns decide to trade their 3rd pick and Maxine Kleber to the Sacramento Kings for Marvin Bagley III and Money Heat. This will end up being a crucial trade in a few years. Stay tuned. As for the 3rd pick, the Kings select 7'1" Jalen Brown, and then the Suns make another huge trade as they are now clearly in a rebuild and send Devin Booker to the Nashville Stars. This makes Devin Booker the face of the expansion Nashville team, while the Sonics select the nephew of Raymond Felton, Jasheem Milton, 6th overall. Now, with the draft over, I think it's important to see how some key players are doing, and as you can see, Kevin Durant is still an 88 overall at 36 years old. Meanwhile, Zion is now a 95 overall at 25. De'Aaron Fox has left the Sacramento Kings for the San Antonio Spurs to team up with Paul George, DeAndre Ayton, and Marvin Bagley. As for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Jokic and Karl Anthony Towns are still one of the best front courts in the league, and they are now joined by RJ Barrett. Meanwhile, in Portland, LaMelo Ball sits at 89 overall, and in Chicago, Amani Bates is a 95 overall for the Bulls at just 22 years old. He teams up there with Ronnie, who's at 5 solo in the second season, and for some reason, as we can see here, Anthony Davis is signed to the top
Spice!
Giannis and Trae Young are the top duo in the NBA, and the Atlanta Hawks have 2 players who are a 99 overall and a 96 overall, respectively. For whatever reason, though, they have not been able to make much of this. Also, something I find interesting here is the all-time scoring leaders, as we did mention that LeBron James finished also 5th all-time and is still active-time leader in three-pointers, being with over 4,500. No surprise there, but James Harden also has over 40,000. Looking at assists, John Stockton is still far. That leader's 20-second shot clock is certainly showing its effects as Luka, James Harden, and Devin Booker all average over 35 points per game. Moving on to the playoffs, the Devin Booker All average hockey is certainly showing its effects as Luka, James Harden, and Devin Booker all average over 35 points per game. Moving on to the playoffs, the Pelicans are shockingly bounced in the first round by the Oklahoma City Thunder. This should have been the most talked about story in the first round. However, somehow a rookie just Shane Felton is able to lead the expansion Seattle Supersonics to an incredible upset of the MVP Luka Doncic-led Dallas Mavericks. This is not the first time the Mavericks have lost as a #1 seed, so I've got to say, Mavericks fans, I am sorry. As for the Eastern Conference, the Chicago Bulls do advance past the first round with Amani and Bronny, but unfortunately, they run into the now mini dynasty Detroit Pistons. Detroit takes down Chicago in 5 games. As for the other Eastern Conference semifinal matchup, in Game 7 between the Wizards and the Cavs, the Wizards are up by 2 when Vernon Curry misses this wide-open layup, and then DJ Wagner misses as well, which means Bradley Beal and Mitchell Robinson lead the Wizards to an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. That is certainly a successful story for the Washington Wizards. However, at this point, the Pistons are an overpowered team and sweep the Wizards in the Eastern Conference Finals. Looking at the Western Conference, the 8-seeded Sonics make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals in their first year back in the NBA, and then they run into LaMelo Ball, Damian Lillard, and the rest of the Portland Trail Blazers. The Blazers would win this matchup in 6 games, which sets up an NBA Finals matchup between the Detroit Pistons and Portland Trail Blazers, and it is here that Cade Cunningham is looking to lead Detroit to a 3-peat, while LaMelo Ball could make his case as a top player in the league if he is able to lead the Blazers to their first championship in nearly 50 years. However, despite a triple-double from LaMelo Ball in Game 1, the Detroit Pistons again are just too good. They handle the Portland Trail Blazers pretty easily and win their 3rd straight NBA championship after a sweep. And with this sweep, Cade Cunningham wins yet another Finals MVP after averaging 30.7 points, 12.7 assists, 7.5 rebounds, and 2.5 steals in the Finals. Because of this, the 3 championships he's won, and the fact that he has not even turned 25 years old yet, I think we can safely say that Cade Cunningham has established himself as one of the best young players the NBA has ever seen. In the offseason, Kevin Love retires after spending his final years with the Orlando Magic, and with the first pick of the 2026 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings select 6'5" point guard Marcus Johnson. Then with pick number 2, the 76ers take Tracy Kalanda. The Celtics select a player Jones at 4, which is notable because at this time, Jones is viewed as one of the best defensive prospects in the number 5 pick, the Los Angeles Clippers select Bryce James. In real life, Bryce is currently not nearly as hyped up as Bronny is, but it appears that in our simulation, Bryce has had a great career and is now a part of the NBA. Continuing on in this draft, the Celtics also have the 6th pick, and they trade the Charlotte Hornets for none other than Kyrie Irving, only continuing the weird path that Kyrie Irving has been on. Meanwhile, in free agency, the biggest player who moves is DeAndre Ayton, who at a 97 overall decides to leave the Phoenix Suns with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Jokic also leaves Minnesota for Seattle, and as you can see, Steph Curry is still a 93 overall at 38 years old. Also, as you can see, D'Angelo Russell decides to sign with Nashville to team up with Devin Booker, meaning that these 2 best friends are able to finally team up, although unfortunately team up with Devin years old. Also, as you can see, D'Angelo Russell decides to sign with Nashville to team up with Devin Booker, meaning that these 2 best friends are able to finally team up, although unfortunately Karl Anthony Towns is not along for the ride. At this point in this simulation, I do want to say Mikey Williams was the 2025 Rookie of the Year and is an 83 overall at this point. However, throughout the rest of this simulation, his name is not going to be in the mix as much because, unfortunately, due to injuries, his career would stagnate, and this is shockingly about as high as his overall would get. So although he was the Rookie of the Year in a star-studded class, leg players such as Tyreek Evans and Michael Carter Williams before him, Mikey Williams' rookie season would end up being one of his best. One more player to mention here, although he had injury issues early, is Jabari Parker. He has had a random late career surge as he averaged a career-high 22 points per game in 2026. He is also the highest-rated player on the Sacramento Kings at an 88 overall. We are now, though, in the 2027 season where Bronny James makes his first All-Star game while also, fast-forwarding a little bit, winning his first 6th Man of the Year award. And of course, looking at the MVP, we have Luka Doncic, making this the 6th straight MVP that Luka has won, a fact that is incredibly insane, and if championships were coming with this, Luka again would be in the GOAT conversation. As for the Rookie of the Year, it appears to be the year of the James. That didn't sound really right, but Bryce James was Rookie of the Year for the Los Angeles Clippers. And now looking at the first team, we've got Luka, Cade Cunningham, Zion Williamson, Giannis, and Nikola Jokic comes back to the first team and now playing for Seattle. Meanwhile, John Morant, whose name has been mentioned, but we haven't really gotten depth into, did average nearly 40 points per game, but only made the All-NBA second team. The thing is, it's kind of hard at this point to get ahead of Luka and Cade Cunningham, considering where they're at. As for the standings, here they are, nothing too crazy to note. Instead, let's get to the playoffs because things get very wild. Detroit is once again the favorite to win the NBA championship, but have a highly anticipated Eastern Conference Finals matchup with the Chicago Bulls. Then in the Western Conference, both the 7th-seeded Thunder, led by DeAndre Ayton, and the 8th-seeded Sacramento Kings, who have just advanced to the Western Conference Finals. In these Western Conference Finals, DeAndre Ayton does prove to be unstoppable, though, and the Thunder advanced to the NBA Finals in an absolutely extreme season. As for Detroit and Chicago, the Bulls do put up an admirable battle, but the Pistons are just too much here, man. In the end, Detroit does win in 6 games after a 36-point 12-assist performance from Cade Cunningham, and so we have the Detroit Pistons Oklahoma City Thunder Finals. It is here where we're going to jump to Game 2, where James Wiseman cuts the Thunder lead to 3. However, advancing forward, we can see Jordan Bell put the game away on this wide open dunk. And I know what you're thinking. You expect Detroit to pull away. However, after the two teams split games 3 and 4, incredibly, the Thunder dominate the Pistons, who are looking for a 4-peat in games 5 and 6, and suddenly, the Oklahoma City Thunder, led by DeAndre Ayton and up-and-coming point guard De'Aaron Johnson, win their first ever NBA championship. This is one of the biggest surprises in the playoffs I have ever seen. And surely the NBA world is shocked by this, but life in the NBA does move on, and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry both retire in the 2027 offseason, despite the fact that Steph Curry did average 29 points per game in his final year. Also retiring are former Lob City duo Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. As for the 2027 NBA draft, Milwaukee receives the first pick, and guys, you might have heard recently about Kendrick Perkins Jr. dominating other young players. Well, as it happens, young Kendrick would eventually develop into a superstar and become the #1 pick of the 2027 draft. As for pick number 2, Philly gives some respect to Kobe, drafting a distant relative of Kobe, Kamian Bryant. And at pick 3, the Raptors select Jamal McKnight Jr. Looking at the big free agent moves this season, Karl Anthony Towns, after having hardly any success at all in Minnesota, decides to finally leave and sign a max contract with the Indiana Pacers. This brings us to the 2028 season, where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes his first All-Star game as he is now playing for the Charlotte Hornets. Also interesting of note here is Egon Abangu, who was a fringe G-League player in his first couple of seasons after entering the league, but now has turned around to become an absolute lockdown defender, and playing for the Dallas Mavericks makes his first All-Star game in 2028. As for the MVP award, the reign of Luka finally comes to an end, as none other than Cade Cunningham wins his first MVP with out-of-this-world averages of 35.8 points, 14.8 assists, and 12.8 steals a night. Meanwhile, the Rookie of the Year goes to Kiyan Anthony, the son of Carmelo Anthony, who was drafted 7th overall by Seattle and averaged over 18 points per game. And speaking of sons of NBA Hall of Famers, joining Cade and Luka on the first team are Giannis, DeAndre Ayton, and Bronny James. Life has come full circle. As for the standings, we have the Blazers with the top record in the West, led by LaMelo Ball, while Detroit would fall to the second best record in the East because it would be the Brooklyn Nets, led by Elijah Fisher, who would finish with a 61-21 record and the top record in the league. As we know, though, from this simulation, sometimes the standings just don't matter, and in the first round, the Blazers would square off against the Lakers, and the Lakers would shock the world and take down the top-seeded Blazers. In this series, Kareem Payne, Pascal Siakam, and Jamal Murray all stepped up and finally gave Lakers fans something to root for in this situation. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Pelicans and Zion knocked off Dallas in 5 games in the first round. As for the East, the two favorites would advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, where we now jump to Game 5. The Pistons are down 3-1 in this series. However, this game is tied when MVP Cade Cunningham hits a layup to put Detroit ahead. However, on the other end, we have Bol Bol, who knocks down a wide-open layup of his own to tie this game. Then, though, with Detroit holding a 2-point lead, Bol Bol would attempt to tie but have his shot blocked. The thing is, though, Dennis Schroeder only makes one of his 2 free throws from the Pistons, which means the Nets would have a chance to tie tie the game with 7 seconds left, and this happens. Yes, Brooklyn ties the game, and then Cade Cunningham attempts to win the game, but his 3-point shot is would step up big time in overtime. That's with the game yet again tied. Cade would hit a huge 3 despite 2 defenders coming after him, and then after the two teams traded baskets, with 3 seconds left, Cunningham hits a wide open James Wiseman for a layup to give Detroit a 2-point lead, and with no timeouts left, Brooklyn's full court shot is off, and Detroit makes the series 3-2. However, this would again be the end of the Pistons finals run, as the Nets would win Game 6 in a 31-point blowout behind 34 points from Elijah Fisher and 26 points and 17 rebounds from Cole Fultz, meaning that the Nets are in the NBA Finals for the first time in 25 years. As for the West, the Lakers continue to shock everyone and make the NBA Finals as the 8th seed. This means they would knock off the Pelicans and Zion in the semifinals, meaning New Orleans has another disappointing finish to their season. From there, LA takes down DeAndre Ayton from the Thunder, and we've got ourselves a Los Angeles Lakers and Brooklyn Nets NBA Finals. And right away, we're jumping into Game 1, where the Lakers are up on the road by 1 in overtime when Jared Butler makes a wide open dunk to put the Nets up by 1 with 34 seconds left. On the other side, Pascal Siakam would attempt to give a lead when a Bol comes through with possibly the best block of his career. This leads to the Nets leading by 3 points with under 5 seconds left when, of all players, C.D. Osman tries to hit a game-tying 3, but the ball goes in. Brooklyn wins this game and the other 3 games too in a blowout sweep, giving the Nets their first championship in their NBA history. Throughout this run, Elijah Fisher stepped up big time and he does win Finals MVP. And now, since we're almost a decade in here, let's take a look at all of the champions so far. Feel free to pause the screen if you want. For now, we're continuing on into the 2020 champions so far. Feel free to pause the screen if you want. For now, we're continuing on into the 2028 offseason, where Russell Westbrook and James Harden both retired. Westbrook finishing his career surprisingly with the Denver Nuggets. Kawhi Leonard would also retire this season, but he spent his last season as a free agent. All 3 of these players would make the Hall of Fame, and this leads us to the 2020 NBA draft. In this draft, the Miami Heat have the #1 overall pick, and it is here where things get exciting, because Miami trades the #1 overall pick and Chris Middleton to the recent mini dynasty Detroit Pistons for James Wiseman and a 2030 first-round pick. To be fair, though, Wiseman does get to go to a nice situation in Miami, where he is now the face of the franchise. As for the #1 pick here, Detroit selects 6'7" shooting guard Desmond Porter, and then at 2, the Suns select Abraham Mobley from the school I went to, St. John's. As for free agency, well, nothing too crazy happens, which means we are in the 2029 season.
You told us you didn't have COVID.
Covering in this episode. And as you can see, Luka does win his 7th MVP, giving him the most MVPs in NBA history, and he is just 30 years old. Also on the first team, we have staples Cade Cunningham, Luka, Giannis, who we have not mentioned much, as shockingly he has not done much with the Hawks since joining forces with Trae Young, but spoiler alert, stay tuned for next episode. But rounding out the first team, we have Bronny James again, and James Wiseman, who broke out as the main guy for the Miami Heat. Wiseman's season actually included a 62.14 rebound performance, the most points out of any player in a single game this season. And speaking of the team rebound performance, Miami Heat, Wiseman's season actually included a 62.14 rebound performance, the most points out of any player in a single game this season. And speaking of the team that traded Wiseman, the Detroit Pistons clearly made a horrible decision. They actually missed the playoffs entirely this season. That is a big yikes. Speaking of Bronny though, well, the duo of him and Amani Bates have not done much throughout their time so far and only make the playoffs this season as an 8 seed. With that said, they knock off the 1 seed. 1 seeds are not safe in this simulation at all, as the Bulls do win a Game 7 against the Bucks, led by a combined 82 points between Bronny and Amani, a duo that at this point we have to mention rhymes. It's kind of catchy. We also have some other close first round matchups, as Markelle Fultz, Tyler Hero, and Bryce James now lead the Clippers, and they narrowly defeat the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then in the semi-Hero and Bryce games. It's kind of catchy. We also have some other close first round matchups as Markelle Fultz, Tyler Hero, and Bryce James now lead the Clippers and they narrowly defeat the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then in the semifinals, the Thunder and the Sonics are facing off as they have become two mainstays in the playoffs at this point, and in 7 games, the Thunder do take down the Sonics led by 45 points from Kalen Houston. As for the Clippers here, they struggle and fall to the Memphis Grizzlies in a sweep as it appears Ja Morant is finally having his moment. Looking over at the Eastern Conference now, although Chicago did shock Miami, they would now run into Giannis and Trae in the semifinals and lose in 5 games, meaning maybe, just maybe, Giannis and Trae can finally do something. And as you can see, the defending champion Brooklyn Nets fall to the 7th seeded Charlotte Hornets, who then fall to the Toronto Raptors led by Jarrett Allen, which sets up a Toronto Raptors Atlanta Hawks Eastern Conference Finals, a matchup that just sounds strange. And unfortunately for Giannis and Trae, although the Hawks keep Game 7 close here, the Raptors do put Atlanta away by 11 points, giving them their first finals appearance since Kawhi led the team in 2019. This is pretty shocking as though although the Raptors are led by Jarrett Allen, who has become somewhat of a defensive ace, Jarrett has not even made an All-Star game, meaning that this could be an NBA champion with no All-Stars. The thing is, an All-Star game, meaning that this could be an NBA champion with no All-Stars. The thing is though, Toronto does have a former #1 pick in Javon Miles, who has become a scoring machine, and a recent top 3 pick in Jamal McKnight Jr., who had 27 points and 9 assists in Game 7. So they do have a somewhat solid group. Meanwhile, Ja Morant would finally bring Memphis to glory after many disappointing years as they knock off the Thunder in 7 games. This means that Ja has pretty much looked out into a very easy NBA Finals, and the Memphis Grizzlies take down the Raptors in 5 games. In these finals, Ja Morant is the Finals MVP as he averages 32.6 points per game. And again, like I said, we haven't really talked too much about Ja Morant in this series so far, but here we are.
Now, Rico, talking about we can play now if you want. Oh, for Christ.
2029 NBA draft, where the Phoenix Suns end up with the #1 pick and select Jason Sanders out of Arizona State. Sanders is actually from Phoenix, so this is a hometown pick that can build a lot of momentum for these Suns going forward. And finally, taking a look at the rosters headed into the 2030 season, aka next episode, the biggest free agent move is LaMelo Ball leaves Portland and signs a max contract with the Houston Rockets at 27 years old. Something that is also interesting to note here, though, is that in the 2030 season, Damian Lillard is still in the league at 39 years old and even averaged 27 points per game in the previous year. And there we have it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember, if you want a part 3, hit that like button. Let's get to 20,000 likes for a part 3. Also remember, subscribe if you're new so you don't miss a video and you don't miss part 3 and you don't miss the countless videos that are going to be made once the NBA season returns. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome. We all know it. And as always, have an awesome day, guys. Thank you. Back, guys, again, have a great day and peace.
I'm going to go get drunk until I die of pussy yapping. No. Shut it.
Why are you so dramatic?
Throughout NBA history, we have seen it all. Dynasties have risen and fallen. Young players have entered the league, become superstars, and retired as legends. At this point in time, in the year 2020, we have watched countless breathtaking, incredible moments take place on a basketball court, and we still talk about those plays today. And so with that in mind, I ask you, what do you think the NBA will be like by the year 2050? What new teams will become dynasties? What new players will become legends? By the time we get to the year 2050, we know one thing. The NBA record books will be completely rewritten. The only question is why. So what's up, guys? Mike here, and yes, today is the final episode of the 2050 series. The comments for this series have been overwhelmingly positive. I want to thank you guys for that, and I also want to say that I'm excited to announce that a new What If is coming soon. This video series has really inspired me to get back into the What If game, and so if you want to see episode 1 of What If Giannis Antetokounmpo was the #1 pick
OMG Sparkles, Emoji sparkles.
Of the 2013 draft, leave a like on this video, and if this video gets 30,000 likes, the first episode of that one will be posted before the NBA comes back. So again, make sure to leave a like, and for now, let's jump into this final episode. And so, jumping into the 2030 season, the 2030 All-Star Game gives us first-time All-Stars that include LeBron's son, Bryce James. We also see Caleb Houston for Oklahoma City, Elijah Fisher for Brooklyn, and finally Anthony Edwards for Golden State all make their first All-Star teams, something that is somewhat surprising for Anthony Edwards as he is a first-time All-Star in his 10th season. Finishing up, Colin Sexton is actually an All-Star starter for the Denver Nuggets, and finally we have Jalen Green of the New York Knicks. Now guys, I know we have not talked much about the Knicks, but I've seen your comments. I know Knicks fans want to know what's going on with their team, and luckily I can tell you, Knicks fans, your team will...
Angel, give this guy a chance before he kills himself.
Before we keep going with this season though, I want to take a look at the all-time scoring list at this point. As you can see, we have LeBron at number 1, James Harden at number 2, Damian Lillard, who is still playing at number 6, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry at 7, 8, and 9, and finally, Michael Jordan is still in the top 10. Meanwhile, as you can see, this list is full of current players, as we also have Bradley Beal, Anthony Davis, and Giannis, while Kyrie is 16th and Luka is 17th despite being only 31 years old. Meanwhile, Kemba is 19th, Melo is 23rd. As for the MVP of the 2030 season, we do have Luka Doncic. This is his 8th MVP award in this simulation. However, he still has only won one championship in 2023. That is certainly hurting his legacy right now. Luka's best performance in the 2030 season was a 60 point, 17 assist, 11 rebound triple-double, and also for the Dallas Mavericks, we have Ike Anabangu, who probably wins his 4th straight Defensive Player of the Year award despite being out of the NBA from 2020 to 2022. Year award despite being out of the NBA, probably wins his 4th straight Defensive Player of the Year award despite being out of the NBA from 2020 to 2022. That is an incredible comeback. As for the standings here, in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder, led by DeAndre Ayton, lead with 51 wins, while Trae Young, Giannis, and the Hawks do finally succeed and get the top record in the East with a 59-23 record. Somehow, scrolling down in the East, we see that Bronny and Amani, two players who should be a dynamic...
Nah, you talking about Alexei and Alvin?
Playoffs entirely.
They're old as...
has become disappointing and very fast.
Alexei was a snake. I hate when people just break up.
Joel Embiid has dramatically regressed in
someone just tried to unalive themselves.
Now though, jumping to the 2030 playoffs, demolished the 8-seeded Pelicans by putting
no.
41 of which come from DeAndre Ayton. This brings us to the semifinals of the Eastern Conference, where Atlanta and Giannis face off against his old team, the Milwaukee Bucks, who are now led by Kendrick Perkins Jr. and Zaire Williams. We are going to jump to Game 6 here, where the Bucks are leading 3-2, and despite the Hawks' best effort, Milwaukee pulls off the shocking upset. This means that Giannis, who is now 35 years old, might have just missed his best shot at a championship, and his legacy is now in a major jeopardy. Continuing on though, Milwaukee would not get to the NBA Finals as they are knocked off by the Warriors. Meanwhile, the conference finals in the West consists of the Oklahoma City Thunder and the on-the-rise Minnesota Timberwolves led by RJ Barrett. The Wolves do fall short to the Thunder.
Another one thing, I wouldn't be able to come to this for a long time anyway.
The Thunder are fighting to stay alive here, and keep in mind, in the previous episode that I hope you've watched because I'm about to spoil some things, both of these teams have won championships.
Now, Lottie, you're my soul, the end of the world won't make you go away. I know that you're here to stay. The devil can't make you go away. Got the one that puts you in his place. Hey, sometimes really wanna know what's Spice. Just making a joke out of this. Goodbye, good riddance anniversary. What time does it start? 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 What time does... Everybody be quiet. What time does it start? It's a goodbye, good riddance anniversary. It's been a year. No, it's been 2 years. What time does it start? 48 minutes.
The anniversary of Goodbye Get Rings?
Yeah.
Bro, you know he dropped the Lucy Dream remix?
Yeah, but look, Lucy Bird ruined the song.
MOG motorized
I
wheelchair.
didn't hear it. I heard the Uzi Bird's part, but I didn't think it was that bad.
He ruined it. Like, it sounds terrible
He
now.
dropped another one. Was it 7.3 or something?
Yeah, 7 4, yeah. Look, everybody here just spamming 999 in the chat. 999999999999999. It's just a bunch of people spamming 999. Come on, Juice WRLD's.
That's crazy you actually talking about because I was listening to Juice WRLD in the road just now.
Come on, Angel, I promise you I will treat you better than any of your exes.
999. 999. 999. There's literally 3,000 people in here that's going to have to wait for over 30 minutes. Smoking that Joshua pack.
Spice. Chance. I'm sorry I ain't ready yet and sorry but I'm putting you through this. I don't get why you do this anyway. In feeling uncomfortableness, giving a rest. In feeling lightheaded or end. MOG circle M, MOG O button, blood type, MOG P button, MOG up. Button. Shake not feeling ready, will give up.
I kind of feel bad for poor John now. All of y'all have weird profile pictures. Like, what is y'all profile? Noah, who told you to leave this party? Who told this man to leave the...
I hate my life. MOG Sparkles, plural, MOG Sparkles, 1, no drama arguing 2, be nice and kind to others 3, no sending death threats 4, make this chat fun and loving 5, I'm going to go pop more perks and listen to Juice WRLD.
I'm in my favorite place, but I feel out of place there. Hmm. There's a verified guy in the chat. That G-Sprook thing. The end of the world won't make you go away. Those break the feeling on you're all flowing my phone, beat my demons out my head, you tell them that they gotta go. Silly groupie, think you for 6 unpack your things and turn my head into your home. Do the same thing with my heart. Oh, you make the love stars go away. Now a lot of your emotions, the end of the world will make you go away. I know that you're here to stay. The devil can make you go away. Wanna put you in a place. They wanna know what you think. They wanna know what's going on. It's mine.
Really wanna know what you thinking on your mind. Really wanna know what you thinking about. Really wanna know what you sometimes. Really wanna know what you thinking. Really wanna know what's on your mind. Yeah, is it the same thing that's on
my mind?
Some tell me saying not a hard thinking, yeah. I ain't really take them as a hard thinking, yeah. I ain't really take them as the devil is. Nowadays his name is pronounced overdose, Percocet.
Not to me at least.
my stomach. Perky's dropping in me, pray to God that I don't unlock. Bible in my hand, key to my destruction in my pocket. Sometimes, really wanna know what you're thinking, alright. Really wanna know what you're thinking on your mind. Really wanna know what you're thinking, babe, right? Really wanna know what you're sometimes. Really wanna know what you're thinking, alright. Really wanna know what's on your mind. Yeah, is it the same thing that's on mine?
The stream title has been updated to Angel Jane Battery not down yet. I got you with the hookup.
What you thinking about? I really wanna know what you sometimes really wanna know what you think. I really wanna know some more. Yeah, listen to the same thing that's on mine. Sometimes it's ain't about the hard thinking, yeah.
I ain't really take him as a hard thinker, yeah. I ain't really take him as the devil, yeah. Nowadays his name is pronounced overdose. Perky figure, that's what's in my mental, baby.
So
Demons in my head,
so that they gotta go. Treat them like some groovy hoes, silly goofy hoes.
proceeds and pack your things.
You turn my head into your home. Do the same thing with my heart. With the hell flames, oh, you make the love scars go away. Now that you're my soul, the end of the world wouldn't make you go away.
I know that you're here to stay.
The devil can't make you go away. Wouldn't it put you in this place? Yeah.
Dropping in me, pray to God that I don't unlock. Bible in my hand, key to my destruction in my pocket. Sometimes, really wanna know what you're thinking, alright. Really wanna know what you're thinking on your mind. Really wanna know what you're thinking, babe. Really wanna know what you're sometimes, really wanna know what you're thinking, alright.
there's literally a comment in the song that said, there's literally a comment in this video that says, when you like someone but afraid to express your feelings.
Sometimes really wanna know what you're thinking, alright. Really wanna know what you're thinking on your mind. Really wanna know what you're thinking, baby. Really wanna know what you're sometimes really wanna know what you're thinking, alright.
My soul, the end of the world would make you go away.
I know that you're here to stay. Now, sometimes really wanna know what you're thinking, alright. Really wanna know what's on your mind. Yeah, is it the same thing that's on mine? Some tell me saying not a hard thinker, yeah. I ain't really take him as a hard thinker, yeah. I ain't really take him as the devil is. Nowadays his name is pronounced.
You turn my head into your home. Thing with my heart. No. Bruh, the funniest thing happened in this chat today. Yay, the trip becomes kind of boring. No, I didn't. You left. Who else was it?